Now, from our studios in Hollywood, California, it's time for Fox NFL Sunday.
The game here in Week 2 of the NFL will involve that man, the King, Joe Montana, as his Kansas City Chiefs get set to host his ex-teammates, the 49ers, right here on Fox. And hello, everyone. We're very glad to have you here with us on Fox NFL Sunday. I'm James Brown, along with my good buddies, I guess I can call them, Terry Bradshaw, Howie Long, Jimmy Johnson. You brought me breakfast back, but why did you allow these guys to bring runny eggs, Jimmy?
No, the breakfast was fine, but I had to sit there all morning listening to the argument about Young and Montana.
Dream match or grudge match? Only the quarterbacks know for sure. Terry Bradshaw talks to Joe Montana about life with and without the San Francisco 49ers. Brand new season, same old Niners.
Steve Young has not missed a beat since taking over the 49er offense for Joe Montana, and it's safe to say that Joe Montana himself is focused for today's contest. Well, as some of you may have heard, there is a game in Kansas City today, and of course the quarterbacks are the big story. But on the defensive side of the ball, Kansas City leads the league with a +4 turnover ratio. And San Francisco held the Raiders to just 34 yards rushing, despite having 7 new starters on defense. Now, our own Terry Bradshaw is the only other person on the planet to know what it feels like to quarterback 4 Super Bowl champions. And Terry, you had a chance to talk with Joe. The question is the gleam still there in the eye?
Are you talking about this look?
That gleam, baby.
I see Hollywood Boulevard right now. Absolutely.
Rodale.
Yeah, Rodale, that'll work. There's no question, absolutely no question, how focused Joe Montana is this week. He wants this game so badly. And I'll tell you, very simple. He's kind of a vindictive person. He very much would like to win this game to prove to Carmen Policy and to Steve Young that Carmen Policy, when he negotiated Steve Young's second contract and Joe felt that he took Steve Young's place. He took his side. Joe felt betrayed. Joe very much would like to prove to Carmen Policy, certainly to Steve Young, that he is the best thing that ever happened to the 49ers, and certainly the fans in San Francisco love Joe Montana. How good is Joe Montana? Good enough. Off the record, in my mind, he is one of the top 2 quarterbacks to ever play the game.
People in the San Francisco Bay Area look at Joe Montana as a god.
Now, I'm not a man of the cloth, but I wonder, after all of these years, after all the pounding, for crying out loud, Joe, when will you decide enough is enough?
I want to do it on my terms. I don't want, hopefully, you know, an injury, I'd rather have an injury than for someone to say, okay, you're released now.
What? Did you hear what Joe just said? Play that again.
I'd rather have an injury than for someone to say, okay, you're released now.
Sounds like Joe has a little bit of a death wish. The truth is, Joe has a strong and nasty competitive streak. He wants to beat the 49ers and Steve Young so bad, but when the camera's on, Joe talks the talk and doesn't give away a thing.
I'm trying to treat it like any other game, knowing that it's not. But as much as I can, I'm going to try to stay as normal as you can with 50, 60 people wanting tickets.
I think everybody's making this into a Montana versus Steve Young, but he doesn't talk with many people about the 49er days.
How are you going to handle how are you going to handle Young's got to beat Montana? He's got to win that town over here.
I think the biggest thing is the fact that we're not on the field together. And if we were competing head-to-head, then you could compare us and you could put us head-to-head. They're going to make those comparisons. But in the past, I've never treated anyone else I've played that way, and I won't treat it that way even this week.
Maybe, maybe not. You better believe Montana's going to keep an eye on Steve Young. As for young Mr. Young, he has to beat Montana and win over his own 49er teammates.
It'll be a big game for Steve Young to kind of get rid of the ghost of Joe Montana.
You know, if we should lose that football game, it's not going to destroy Steve Young. You know, he's been through so much.
Each time you step out as a quarterback for the 49ers and you're not Joe Montana, there's going to be a series of expectations. And so it's not new, and it's not unusual. And so it's the same shoes I've been in for a number of years, and I've gotten used to it and enjoy it.
Enjoy it? You got to be kidding me. Enjoy being compared with Joe Montana? Here's the truth.
I'm as desperate to win. I mean, I don't know how you get more desperate to win than desperate.
Desperado.
Desperate is also a good way to describe Joe Montana. He knows that as a quarterback, his biological clock is ticking away. If you win a Super Bowl this year, will you retire? Will that be it?
See ya.
Will that will be it. If you won,
sure, yeah. If we won, I would definitely do that. But
and if you don't win, I mean,
if you don't win, I'd take it day by day.
Retire? Not Joe Montana. What Joe really wants is to play forever. Still, there comes a day of reckoning. But when Joe does retire, President Clinton, that's President Chelsea Clinton, will offer him a cabinet post, and Montana will turn it down. He'll want a job with real power. Ha ha! I know what he wants. I know what he's got his eye on, but I'm not going down without a fight. Oh, boy. Fight? Let's talk about fighting. Jimmy, right to you. If you had a choice today in a big game, who would you want being your quarterback? Would you want Steve Young or do you want Joe Montana?
Terry, we've got apples and oranges. I think that Steve Young still has a tendency to make the mistake in the big game. Joe Montana, in my opinion, he's the best, no offense, Terry, the best in the last 20 years.
Well, I can handle that. I don't have a problem with that. We saw Marcus Allen talking. This is a tough game for both these quarterbacks. How do you feel about as a player?
I tell you, when playing Joe Montana, you're playing cool hand Luke. I mean, this guy's about as cool a customer as you possibly can get. Talking to Marcus Allen, he said there's no player he has ever played with who is made to play the game like Joe Montana. He has ice water running through his veins. Marty Schottenheimer told me he brings the level of the entire team up when he steps on the football field. And if these two guys are saying this is not a big game, they're full of it.
Yeah,
because I'll tell you what, this is going to be a game that decides who's the real quarterback in San Francisco. And I think Joe Montana is the cooler customer right now.
Jimmy?
Well, you know, Joe Montana may be 2 up for the game. The first playoff game that Joe Montana was in for quite a while. Against the Steelers, he was 0 for 7 to start the game. Carl Peterson said he was telling him before the opener this year, hey, I'm looking forward to the San Francisco game. He may be 2 up for this game.
Well, I don't know who's going to be 2 up, but this is going to be a great showcase. Montana, Steve Young. I love it. JB?
Let's talk with the man who's coached at Kenny Stabler and against the likes of Joe Namath and Terry Bradshaw, our own John Madden. And, hey, John, from your perspective, what are some of the ingredients that go into making up a truly great quarterback?
I think there's a lot of ingredients, JB, because it's hard to be great. And if it were easy to be great, there'd be a heck of a lot more great ones than there are. And the fact that there's not a lot of great ones means that you have to have so many ingredients. I mean, you have to have feet, and you have to have quickness, and you have to have vision, and you have to have a good arm, and you have to be accurate. And maybe one of the things that we don't think enough about is you really have to be tough. I mean, I think that of all the acts in football, one of the toughest is being able to hold the ball and have a whole bunch of big guys rushing you and not look at the guys rushing you, but look downfield at your receivers. So I think to be great, you have to be great at all those things, a whole bunch of things, and it's tough to be great.
And, John, with those characteristics you just delineated then with, hey, at the risk of embarrassing our superb studio co-host, that is, who would you say is the best quarterback of all time and why?
Well, you know, it's hard to say the best quarterback of all time, and I don't want to embarrass our studio host, or I don't want to embarrass him because he has 4 Super Bowl rings. I'll guarantee you, when I was in Oakland, we played against him, and he was tough. I played against Namath, and he was tough. But I've been in this business broadcasting now. This is my 16th year. And I'll tell you this, in the 15 years that I've been doing this, I haven't seen anybody better than Joe Montana.
Up next, the high-powered 49er offense. How can they be stopped? Terry, Howie, and Jimmy will have some answers when we return with the RC Cola playbook. And there's the guy we're all talking about. I think he's got real teeth. Joe Montana. Back with more in a bit.